If there were a Hall of Fame for anime teachers, most people would probably walk right past Sasuke Uchiha like he's the guy that's handing out parking tickets. Turns out the quiet guy who looked emotionally allergic to parenting somehow became one of the best mentors in the entire Naruto franchise, and he did it all while living in the wilderness, surviving on fish and mushrooms like the world's grumpiest camping instructor. The funniest part is that Sasuke never realized that he wasn't just training Boruto to beat stronger enemies. He was unknowingly preparing him for the day he'd have to survive without him. Looking back at it now, that missing year between Boruto Part 1 and Part 2 might be the greatest teaching lesson that Masashi Kishimoto and Mikio Ikemoto have ever hidden in plain sight. That missing year obviously being the year that Sasuke trained Boruto during that 3-year time skip. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explained video where your OBC, your original Boruto chief, takes a look at the deeper meaning behind the year of Sasuke training Boruto that Ikemoto just gave us insight into, and why you should view their relationship much higher up the ranks of sensei and student relationships. Also, over on my Anime Explained channel, the brand new Chainsaw Man video essay on the War Devil, which is named Yoru, the Reflection of War. That's the current working title, might have something else for it, is up on the channel. And that is one I am extremely proud of. And the script in particular, that was 11 pages of love bleeding into the script itself, because that's one of my favorite characters in part 2 of the story. Strongly recommend that if you're into Chainsaw Man or you're curious about the series and want to know, is this just a Gooner manga or does it have some more substance to it? Video will be linked in the description box and in the end credits for those who are curious. For years, whenever people ranked the greatest teachers in Naruto, the same names they always came up: Jiraiya, Kakashi, Might Guy, Minato, maybe Iruka if someone wanted to get sentimental, and low-key he did teach Naruto a lot during his short few appearances in the Naruto manga. Sasuke usually was never invited to the conversation though, and honestly I understand why. In Boruto Part 1, in the manga continuity of the story, he was pretty hands-off with Boruto. His type of teaching for Boruto was a bit different because he was a training prodigy that he had. Being super hands-on, that wasn't the approach that Boruto needed due to how quickly Boruto learned things. Instead, a lot of Sasuke's training came in more subtle ways, like letting him make mistakes by using the ninja tool instead of calling him out on it once he noticed it, and letting Boruto push through his own shame and his own guilt. When he told him to brush up on what he taught him after that arc was done, it was Sasuke basically saying, you do you and I'll check in on your progress later, because Sasuke's primary focus was on Boruto's mentality, which goes very underappreciated in my opinion. However, the time skip doubles down on it and shows a different side of Sasuke based on Ikemoto told us in that Q&A for the 10th anniversary of Boruto's manga. Most of what happened during that missing year with Boruto took place off screen. Fans knew Boruto became drastically stronger and that he learned all of Sasuke's jutsu that don't require a Sharingan, but strength alone and teaching a bunch of jutsu doesn't automatically make someone a good teacher. If you think that, then you're still stuck in that shonen meathead category of anime fan. Anybody can hand someone a sword and teach them how to throw a shuriken or fire off a jutsu. Not everyone can prepare someone for life and do it in a way where the lessons being taught are done in a non-verbal way. That's where Ikemoto's latest comments completely changed the conversation, because according to information for Boruto's 10th anniversary Q&A, Boruto and Sasuke weren't staying in comfortable villages every night. They were surviving, which is obvious given Boruto was wanted for the murder of Naruto by every nation that had a treaty with Konoha, and Sasuke was a rogue ninja again for helping Boruto escape. Their meals consisted of river fish, sea fish, wild vegetables, mushrooms. Which, side note, sea fish means that they went outside the land of fire as well. They likely went closer towards some of those areas, like say the land of water. Maybe not directly to the Mist Village, but you get the point though. However, Sasuke made it a point to turn everything they did into a training session. They weren't standing around with fishing rods to catch fish. Sasuke made it a point to make Boruto do the one thing he told him to focus on when he began training him, which was to relearn the basics of lightning release, chakra control, and how to refine how he uses lightning release. Sasuke continued that during the time skip in a brilliant way in multiple ways. If Boruto wanted fish, he made him use his chakra and shuriken. Basically, extreme chakra control. If Boruto got tired of fish, Sasuke would say, let's go hunt some birds, but you have to use lightning release and shuriken to catch the birds. Once again, chakra control. Running lightning release through the shuriken to hit the target in the air that's moving, but also have enough control over it to not lop off the head of the bird or to not vaporize the thing because you put too much lightning release inside the shuriken. The same thing with fishing, using chakra and shuriken in a controlled manner. Likely so as to not vaporize everything in the water because you don't want to leave a trail. If these Anbu that are hunting you down notice that there's a bunch of dead fish in the water, they're going to know you're nearby. You take what you need and only what you need. If they wanted something to eat, chances are Sasuke either caught it or he taught Boruto how to catch it. Every moment was a teaching moment. If something broke, Sasuke was the one that repaired it, but he also showed Boruto how to repair it. Boruto previously, if something broke, he paid to get it fixed or he bought something new. Now, there was more need to be careful with your tools, and if they broke, you kept fixing them until you couldn't fix them anymore. You learned to get the most out of what you had. If dinner needed to be made, Sasuke is the one that cooked it, and he showed Boruto how to do it. If they needed to identify edible plants, Sasuke already knew what they were looking for, and he taught Boruto how to find what they were looking for. That sounds like a tiny detail. It sounds like super small stuff, but that's only if you're viewing things on a surface level. It isn't really a small thing because this is showing a level of patience and nurturing from Sasuke that you wouldn't immediately list off if someone told you to pick 5 things to describe Sasuke. This changes what that missing year actually was. People have been treating it like a year-long training montage. It wasn't. It was survival. It was a giant life lesson that Sasuke was teaching Boruto too. And there's a huge difference between teaching someone how to fight. Kiba can teach you how to fight. Teaching someone how to stay alive, that is more impressive. Sasuke, in a way, really mirrors Jiraiya to a degree. Jiraiya didn't spend 2.5 years teaching Naruto how to make a bigger Rasengan. Anybody saying that is being disingenuous. He literally had to take Naruto back to the basics and teach him everything Naruto should have already learned at the academy, while also helping him with combat training. Sasuke, on top of having his memory altered, also had to first reassess Boruto's skill and then teach Boruto all the essential life skills that he would need to survive and teach him the unspoken things about what it meant to be a man and a shinobi as well. It's during this time that Ikemoto says that Sasuke went from finding it weird to train Boruto to accepting Boruto, and Boruto went from calling Sasuke Uncle Sasuke or Old Man Sasuke to calling him Master and using honorifics. There was growth there on both ends. It's almost like both characters got a training arc when you think of it that way. I want you to think about Boruto's situation for a second. The entire shinobi world believed he murdered Naruto. His own memories of his home, they were now poisoned because he couldn't go back. Every night he put his head down on the ground, his memory would have went back to the soft pillow that used to be on his bed. Every bite of the bird that he ate, he was probably thinking back to the unseasoned chicken that Hinata probably made. When it rained at night, Boruto probably thought about the roof that used to be over his head. When Sasuke was snoring too loudly, Boruto probably rolled his good eye before turning his head on the soggy log that he was resting on while he was keeping watch. Every nation would have considered him one of the most wanted people alive, if not the most wanted. Where exactly was he supposed to buy groceries? Stop by the local supermarket, ask for directions, go to a hotel? Of course not. Every meal carried a risk. Every town carried a risk. Every conversation could expose them. So Sasuke did what Sasuke had spent most of his life learning to do. He adapted. And when you think about Sasuke's character, that's basically the story of his life. After the Uchiha massacre, after leaving Konoha, after years with Orochimaru playing the training games of Hide the Snake, After wandering the world alone, seeking out redemption and looking into the origins of the Akatsuki as we knew them, and then looking through every Otsutsuki dimension for informational Kaguya. Survival wasn't a skill anymore, it was instinct. And instead of keeping that knowledge to himself, he passed it to Boruto, and along with it, he began to fill a role in Boruto's life that Boruto likely didn't even realize he needed to have filled, and yet with his parents sealed away and Kawaki living his life as Naruto's child, he needed what Sasuke gave him even more. And that's what makes this relationship so special. Sasuke wasn't teaching from scrolls, he was teaching from scars. This was something bigger than teacher and student. During that year, Sasuke quietly became something different. He became a parent to Boruto. Not biologically, not functionally, but symbolically to a degree. I guess you could say symbolically also means functionally, but at the end of the day, he wasn't a biological parent. Who hunted most of the time? It was Sasuke. Who fished? Sasuke. Who prepared the meals? Sasuke. Who repaired the damaged equipment? Sasuke. Who already knew how to survive in the wilderness? Sasuke. Those aren't the responsibilities of someone showing up for a 2-hour sparring session before heading home. Those are the responsibilities of an adult, making sure the teenager beside him lives long enough to see tomorrow, and when tomorrow comes, he's equipped enough mentally and physically to survive. And that's such an interesting evolution for Sasuke, because this is the same person who many years ago in the timeline spent years believing he had to shoulder every burden alone. Now, without ever saying it, he's making sure Boruto never has to wonder where his next meal is going to come from. That is love. That's not the kind of loud love that Naruto would show. That's not the encouraging speeches that Jiraiya would give, at least not when he was sneaking into ninja bathhouses. Not the passionate lectures that Guy would scream at Lee about youth. This is Sasuke's version. It's quiet, it's practical, almost invisible if you're not paying attention. Hands-on and yet hands-off at the same time. Sasuke has never been good with saying how he feels. Most of the time, he does it through his actions. When he protected Naruto against Haku's a really good way. He gave that speech, but his actions spoke before anything else. When he chose to believe in Sarada instead of his own memories, he acted. And now, by making sure Boruto could save another day, live another day, that is huge. And the tragic part is that Sasuke had absolutely no idea what he was preparing Boruto for in reality. He wasn't thinking, I'll probably be gone soon. He wasn't trying to leave behind a survival guide because he knew Code was waiting around the corner. Nobody knew that less than a year later, Code would launch his attack. Nobody knew that Sasuke would sacrifice himself by protecting Boruto. Nobody knew that Sasuke would be sealed away inside of a tree, and that Boruto would spend the next year running and hiding from Anbu Black Ops alone until Kashin Koji saved Boruto from 20 Anbu Black Ops. From Sasuke's perspective, he was simply teaching Boruto everything he learned from a lifetime of hardship. But hindsight changes everything, because after Sasuke disappeared, every single lesson suddenly became essential. Catching fish wasn't just a camping skill anymore. Repairing equipment wasn't just a useful trick anymore. Knowing how to live off the land wasn't just character development. It was Boruto's new reality. He was alone. The last classroom day that Sasuke attended was when Code attacked. School was now out of session. Everything after that, Boruto had to handle alone. That makes all those quiet moments around the campfire indefinitely more heartbreaking than when we first even imagined them having them when we were speculating on what would happen during the time skip. And there's another layer to this that I don't think people truly appreciate. Omnipotence should have made all this impossible when you think about it. Remember, Sasuke's memories are altered. Every instinct in his head was telling him that Boruto was responsible for Naruto's disappearance. Every false memory was screaming that Boruto was the enemy. And yet, day after day, Sasuke kept choosing Boruto anyway. After a certain point, not even trusting Sarada is enough to keep fighting through that effect of omnipotence. It's your anchor, but you still need more. Shikamaru shows us that when he is showing us how he was fighting through omnipotence. Not because the memories disappeared, because Boruto kept giving him new ones, just like Ada told Sarada when she explained to Sarada and us as readers how someone can see through the fog of omnipotence, which ironically, even now 3 years after it happened, people still try to call this a genjutsu. It's not the same thing. It's not like genjutsu where when you know you're under it, you can reverse it. That does not apply here. And that's the genius of their relationship, and Ikemoto highlighting those details gives you a deeper appreciation when you remember how omnipotence works. Omnipotence could rewrite the past memories, and when you saw something that contradicted your memories, it would rewrite itself like a type of code running in the background to make you look past contradictions. It couldn't stop the future from happening. Every fish that they caught together, every meal they shared, training session, quiet conversation, every hardship they survived side by side, they became real memories, real experiences, things omnipotence couldn't interfere with. It's why Chocho began to start looking at Boruto and saying, man, I know that guy's supposed to be scum, but man, on top of being cute, he sure is an ally of Konoha. Sarada, I get it. Slowly, over time, without either of them realizing it, those new memories started outweighing the false ones. That's why when Boruto stopped being the boy that Sarada asked Sasuke to trust, he became the young man that Sasuke trusted enough that they endured everything together. If there's one thing that separates a good teacher from a legendary one, it's this. A good teacher will help you pass the test. A legendary teacher prepares you for the day where there isn't anyone left to help. Looking at Boruto now, that's exactly what Sasuke accomplished. Because when Boruto walks onto the battlefield of Two Blue Vortex, you're not looking at Naruto with a sword. You're not looking at Naruto's child cosplaying as Sasuke. You're looking at someone who inherited so much of Sasuke's way of thinking. Watch how Boruto fights. He doesn't waste movements. He doesn't rush into battle with emotions blinding him. He studies his opponent before committing. He also looks for escape routes. Even when he was fighting Jura, his mind was continuously looking for one way to get the advantage. You see a lot of Sasuke in how Boruto is moving now. And it's really poetic when you realize that Naruto himself told Sasuke, he's nothing like me, but instead Boruto's a lot like you. This is Sasuke's greatest accomplishment as a teacher. He didn't create a copy so much of himself. He just redefined who Boruto already was. That's a lot harder. Naruto was loud, impulsive, optimistic. Boruto does have those qualities deep down. We see them at times. He still wants to save everyone. God knows he can be loud. He still refuses to give up on people. He still believes in impossible outcomes that can be turned into a reality. That's exactly why Kashin Koji keeps running into problems when he deals with Boruto, because Koji sees probabilities, Boruto sees possibilities. That part of Boruto's pure Naruto, but wrapped around that optimism is Sasuke's patience, his restraint, his precision, his willingness to wait for the exact moment, his constant calculating that comes from being observant. Look back to Naruto and Sasuke versus Jigen. Naruto was the one that went full half-cock there. Sasuke, even before he told Naruto to take the charge, Sasuke was still trying to study Jigen to figure out how he was fighting. There was a level of restraint there with Sasuke that you didn't see with Naruto. That's why what we saw, I'm a big fan of it. I really like what Ikemoto just gave us here. That's not necessarily something that when the anime comes back that I want to see a whole episode dedicated around it, but say when you do that flashback to when Sasuke ends up being defeated by Code, say we see a little bit of that during the lead up to that, I'm absolutely fine with that. That's a fine 5-minute segment in a 18-19 minute anime episode. I'm fine with that. Just don't make this an entire arc. But that's gonna be it for today's video. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, clicking here on the left to check out that Chainsaw Man video that I was talking about earlier, or click here on the right to check out this video that YouTube says you would enjoy from my channel.